very, very much there. You can't really escape from it. Because even when you're at school, you always had to sit like boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl. So there wasn't a category of not being a boy or not being a girl. It was just a base fact. You're just a boy or a girl. There are boys and girls. And
well,
you sit
at that sort of
boy,
age,
girl,
you don't really
boy,
know
girl.
who you are, so gel with people immediately similar to you. And one of the easiest distinctions you can draw from a group of 100 people is half of them are girls, half of them are boys.
I always had Barbies, or those things called those spaghetti dolly type things. Like I always used to play like hospitals where I'd line up all my teddies and I'd like dress them up and like care for them and look after them, be a mum or a nurse or something. It's caring
Well,
and female.
you have the classic my dad's harder than your dad situation, but you never really have my mum's harder than your mum. It doesn't really have the same sort of social knowledge and connotation that the former phrase does. Like, I think boys are more impressed by aggression of other boys at a young age. Like, little kids want to be action man or want to be in the army and things like that, and it's very it's very violence orientated. So like, boys want to discuss things like fighting and hurting people and dominance and things like that, and I don't know how much time girls would have spent play fighting as children, but I'd imagine generally boys spend more time play fighting, which is odd because there's no, well, there's little biological reason for boys to feel that way. I mean, we have different hormone levels, we have different testosterone levels, and fundamentally, generally, boys are larger than girls. So I guess from an evolutionary point, that makes us harder to kill. But we don't live in that society anymore, obviously, because that would be ridiculous.
So I would say like when we were in secondary school, whatever, there was always a group of like these cool boys, and us girls would like try and gravitate towards them, and it was sort of like the boys would be playing football and the girls would just be like sitting around talking, chatting, like doing our makeup, whatever, and like then when it was raining, for example, we'd all be inside and we'd all be sitting around again together at lunch and break, again chatting, laughing, whatever, and also flirting, like really innocently, but there was always that sort of thing of, oh my god, he laughed at my joke. Kind of, we were in like 8 or 9.
When I was younger, I was weirdly like traditional. Like, this was when I was like 15 or something, and I was like, I'm going to get married, I'm going to quit my job, and then like a woman should, I'm going to look after the husband, look after the home. And now I just look back and I think, why the fuck did I think that? That's really weird. But like, I guess like my school was quite like, because it had been a boys' school until like the 60s. So it was quite like a sexist school. And like, as a result, I guess I was kind of like exposed to having to defend myself for being a girl quite early on. And it was quite a discussed thing among the girls already, just like, you know, the small things like in assembly. You'd have, oh, the boys won a rugby match, and there'd be huge celebrations, and they'd all congratulate each other, and then they'd be like, oh yeah, the girls? Whatever. Yeah, like, the boys at my school were like horrible. Like, absolutely horrible. Like, a lot of bullying from the boys to the girls, and like my friend Sarah used to get called a dog by the boys, and it's just stuff like that. And I used to get called flat-chested, which is now ridiculous, because my boobs are now like, nope, we're going to be double Ds now. I can safely say I won that battle.
No, I really like being a guy. No, I think I get a lot more opportunities because I'm a guy, you know. I think I get into a lot more social circles because I'm a guy. Yeah. So yeah, in that sense, I think it is easier to be a guy. I mean, yeah, sometimes I look at girls and I think, oh, you know, it wouldn't be too bad to be a girl. You know, 9 months paternity leave would be alright. But no, I think big time guys have it easier.
mean, yeah, I think I got away with a lot more shenanigans because I'm a guy. You know, I mean, if I got really pissed, you know, slept around, I'd get a lot of high fives for that the next day, you know. A lot of like, you're a cheeky chappy, whoops, you know. Yeah, but I imagine that would be quite different if I was a girl. I mean, I think my bad behaviour is kind of like more of a merit badge, you know, rather than a damning strike against my character, you know. I mean, you go to a party and you pull 13 girls in one night, it's like, you get a lot of high fives for that the next day, you know. Yeah, but I imagine if I was a girl,
I wouldn't say it's
many high fives.
I'd say it's more of a competition. There's more of a competition to like who can drink the most. It's to boost your own ego. I wouldn't say I ever felt the need to impress anyone. I'd say I got caught up in like who can drink it the fastest. Well, I want to drink it the fastest because I want to be alpha male. But yeah, like it's really weird to think about it like that. Like when you actually think about it, like why do guys turn drinking pints into a competition? Do you know what I mean? Like why? Like I think there's a kind of innateness in ourselves to try and assert dominance in any way. Like for example, like especially in rugby, it's such a physical sport, so you know like the stronger, faster players will do better, but then off the pitch, like so there's a competition, like we're used to competing in that way, that when we're out, when we're off the pitch, when we're socialising, we still have that competitiveness in ourselves. And we want to try and make everything.
No, yeah, well, I think there's a big current of it, isn't there? So, I mean, it's hard not to get swept up.
Yeah, when we were freshers, we definitely felt quite a lot of pressure to almost compete. Because, yeah, we definitely felt quite a lot of pressure to drink. And then the members who didn't drink, or the members who like got drunk and had to be taken home, or couldn't make it out to the clubs on socials, they would be like humiliated. I wouldn't say it was humiliation, but for example, James Moss can't really hold his drink, and so on one of the first nights he was, while drunk, he was just kind of saying crazy things.
I mean, pulling as many girls in as many funny situations as possible.
I can't remember exactly what he was saying.
Drinking as much as you can.
I think it was Mike, every time he said something, he'd be like,
I mean, just saying as much stupid shit as possible.
shit chat Moss, down behind, and he'd have to. And like the next day, because he'd been made to drink so much, and because, you know, when you're drunk, you're acting like your inhibitions are lowered, you're acting in a funny manner, in a strange manner, in a ridiculous manner. And so he was reminded that a lot on socials.
Yeah, no, I think
guess
that's
kind of what happened.
I think that's it. I mean, just trying to think. I mean, drinking each other's piss. Drinking pints at someone else's shat-in. You know, that kind of thing. I mean, I certainly know people who have got involved. You know.
A fresher got made down a pint of piss on a rugby social, which is just disgusting and humiliating and so outrageously degrading. And like the shame is, like he did it, like that happened. He let himself do that. Because like for one of the biggest shame is that like he felt so much pressure to do that, to feel accepted. And then another thing is like it's quite psychologically worrying, like who can get enjoyment from that? Forcing someone to do that.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think. I don't know. Most outrageous. Well, I mean, rugby initiations, they get pretty leery, you know. I mean, guys start docking. I've got friends who've docked. Oh right, so it's basically where so a guy will get, you know, pull his foreskin back, and then we'll get another guy to put his penis there, and then he'll pull the foreskin back over. Yeah. Docking. D-O-C-K-I-N-G.
Some gay laughs, but also because they wanted to humiliate me. Because like to keep it in the group. It's fine. You can get last in the group, but to make it public, to put that on Facebook, like to make a video and put that on Facebook to gain likes, that's got to be for humiliatory purposes, I think, which is like that made me uncomfortable, and like just destroyed, wrecked the trust. Yeah. Well, they kind of take like sexuality and sexual practices as less than equal, and they use it in a way that will humiliate.
So I would say that lad culture is a thing that people are really aware of. And so I think that the lads try to play up to it a bit. And sort of having known them when they came to uni and before they like quite discovered what the lad culture was, I can safely say that they are not lads.
I like them tall girls. I like them short girls. I like them pretty girls. I like them blonde-haired girls. I like them big girls. I like them skinny girls. I like them carrying a little bit of weight girls.
A night out, I'm probably going to take like an hour to get ready.
I'd rather take half an hour, have a shower, put some clothes on, go downstairs and arrive at pre-drinks at 8 o'clock, as opposed to arrive at 10 o'clock having spent 2 hours getting ready.
Like, I feel like it's more acceptable for a girl to be sexy. But like when you go on a night out, you can dress up and be kind of sexy, and the boys are there like after you. Whereas you don't really get that kind of process of getting ready to go out, making yourself look different. As a girl, you have more opportunity to make yourself, to transform yourself as well.
I like to take my sweet time. I like to get some music on. I like to swap some outfits. I like to have some naps. Might even have a nap. Now's the standard time, isn't it?
But yeah, so I'd rather arrive at pre-drinks way later and have much more time to get ready.
So I've got like this special getting ready playlist. I'm gonna have a shower.
Rather wear a shirt as opposed to a t-shirt on a night out.
I'm gonna brush my teeth. I'm gonna floss. I'm gonna clean my tongue. Use mouthwash. I'm gonna exfoliate. I'm gonna moisturise. Like, I like to do the whole like. I like to get.
I have a little OCD pet hate of unironed shirts, so I always iron my shirt. I don't like wearing, like, if you're going to wear one, at least blooming iron it. It looks like you've just screwed it up in the bottom of your bag, really.
I like to plan my outfit, and then I like to plan my eyeshadow to match my outfit.
More of that. If you're an ugly boy, I feel like it's worse than if you're an ugly girl. Because you can do a lot more to your clothes. It's worse to be an ugly boy because it's not like you can do to change your image.
I'm not dressed particularly. I'm not wear nice jeans. I'm not wear really nice shoes because I know there's a chance I'm going to get battered and I end up wrecked or something.
So last night I wore like pink and black, and I went for this like shimmery pink and black eyeshadow.
But you get the idea. It's not. I'm not going to wear my Sunday best, but nonetheless I'll make a bit of effort. But yeah, getting ready really doesn't take a long time.
Yes, it's an art form.
I've sort of learned whilst being at uni that part of the ritual of a night out for girls is the getting ready part.
I'm gonna wear a pair of little shorts, my high-waisted ones. My going out shorts are high-waisted because they suck in my tummy.
It's not an individual thing. Guys just don't really get ready together.
And like a little top.
It's not like me and my friends all jump in the shower and scrub each other's back and pull each other's trousers up.
Okay, for most guys, it's like you get ready, you get organised. It's like this is where we're going tonight.
And not too cropped though, because
So
I really hate my
time,
stomach. So like,
one of them be
I'd
running
like to show
around
that, just
frantically like,
something nice. Not too nice though, because Durham's a bit
and
cringe.
literally like chill. Yeah, like bro, it's gonna be okay. Like, your night is not gonna matter whether you're wearing black or
And
blue
then you
trousers.
start talking about the night. You start talking about like who's going, what girls are going. You start having a bit of a chat, a bit of a banter about what girls are going. You know, you start like egging each other on. You know, start texting certain girls, setting something up for the night.
But even then, like, I can see how someone can really enjoy going out, but like not enjoy the whole getting ready process. And even how they can feel a bit like, I feel so girly because I'm not into it in the same way that these guys are.
Okay, now here was close.
Oh.
Try to domesticate you,
Oh.
but you're an animal.
Oh.
Maybe it's in your nature.
Oh.
Just let me liberate you.
Hey.
We don't need a I hate these
So,
bloody nights.
if I And there's like loads of guys grinding up on me, trying to like, and I'm just like, oh, gross, get away from me! But if you go on a night out in Durham, and no one approaches you, no guys look at you, no one compliments you, then you go home feeling shit. So it's a hard, like, balance. I don't know, like, there was this one time where I just wanted to get with people. So like, make myself feel better to get with loads of people. So like, you'd be dancing and you make eye contact. But then I guess it depends on how drunk you are, doesn't it? Because if I'm quite drunk, I'll be there like, yep, I'm the most attractive person in this club. You'd be lucky to get with me. But I'm just going to go and jump on you and put my arms around you. But then like, if I'm sober, I'm just going to be like, yeah. I'm just going to look at you and think you're attractive, and then I'm probably going to leave, get a subway, and go home by myself. I think deep down I like glasses because I like peaks. Because I feel like peaks, and this is a generalisation, but I feel like peaks probably get with less people, and therefore I've got more of a chance with them because they'll be more like appreciative that the girl's going after them, if that makes sense. Whereas if I see like a big lurgy rugby guy who might be like really attractive, I'll just be like, no, I've not got a chance with them. I'd never go after them. I mean, if they went after me, which is once in a blue moon, I'd be like, oh my god, this is crazy. But no, they're not really my type. They've got to be slightly geeky looking.
I think guys place more an emphasis on getting absolutely binned on a night out, as opposed to, and girls just want to have a good time. Why that is? I'm not sure. But equally as much, I'm not sure whether, well, I have been thinking about this, that whether guys or girls place more of an emphasis on pulling on a night out. Pulling, objective word there.
Like,
To
going
pull,
on a
I pull,
night
you
out.
pull, you get
See
the
how
idea.
many girls you can pull, you know, causing a bit of a shit heap. You go back to your mates, you go back to them, and although you fuck things up for the girl, you know, you're kind of a bit of a legend for doing it. And I've certainly been on that, you know. Gone out with the intention to lad up as much as possible, you know, pull as much as possible.
I think with girls you get less objectification, the kind of mammalian mating ritual. That's an absolutely horrible phrase. I wish I hadn't said that. And it's all being recorded.
I mean, I took the abuse that came with it, you know. But it wasn't serious abuse, you know, it was kind of like, you know, you're a dickhead, but haha, what do you like? Yeah.
So last night we were in Osborne's, and I was like talking to Max, and this guy comes up and like high fives Max, and it's like, you gonna go home? You gonna fuck her right in the pussy? And like shouted it and did the whole like fist bump thing. Which
And
is
in
a
the
bit
club, that is where the plans go into action, you know. You've got guys wingmanning certain guys, you've got guys with dibs on certain girls, you know, who they'll get with in the night, or they'll just see another girl they like and go with them instead.
I don't know, I'm kind of in two minds about it really. Like half of me is like, that makes me feel really grim and really disgusting, but then the other half of me is like, because it's Max, I feel like it's kind of nice for him. Like he's quite insecure and I'm his first, so I feel like he would appreciate someone not complimenting. I feel like he would be thinking, yeah, my girlfriend's attractive. But then, yeah, if he wasn't my boyfriend, I'd be like, fuck off.
Oh, the aim is to bring someone back at the end of the night, you know. And if you've utterly failed, then you just get absolutely smashed, you know, to drown your sorrows.
Yeah, like things you regret. So, like you like got with someone or you went back with someone and like that cut your night short. Like you're so drunk, you don't know what you're doing. You're not with your friends. And you find a boy you're not really that into, but you're both in the moment. With
Oh, and then there's the
night, and then
uproar.
you regret the whole
Yeah.
fucking night.
And sometimes there's fights, and that's when you see those cringe arguments when you're walking around Durham, you know, and it's like, mate, you know, mate, you knew I was fucking getting with her, you know, mate, you knew I was getting with Ella, you know, fuck you, mate. And I mean, they move on with it, you know, I mean, if anyone's struck off, it's the girl, because I mean, it's like, actually, wait, you know, she fucking got with my best mate, like, fuck fuck her, you know. And then she's the slut, you know, she's the bad guy, and it'll be like, fuck her, you know, she's a fucking slut.
I hate these
I know you want it. I know you want it. I know you want it.
Like, right from the start, it's always been like, I'm the vulnerable one, and he's like this big protector type thing. Basically, it was after a night out, everyone was really drunk. He's more drunk than me. He's just won his football match. Like, finished a whole bottle of champagne and more. I've had a bit to drink, but not too much. We've gone out as a massive group, had a really good night, danced around the club. People went home in drips and drabs, so we decided to stay and look for one of our friends because we wanted to make sure we went in together. But we couldn't find her, so we were like, let's just go home, expecting people to have waited for us, but they hadn't. We're then in this tricky situation. He lost his wallet, I didn't even bring any money out with me. And then this is like a 15-minute walk away from our house. And it's really dangerous to walk back alone at night. Even if you're with another person, you should always get a cab. But we had no option. Being in that kind of drunken state, didn't think to get a cab back to the house, and then pay for it when you're there. So we just started walking home, and then this guy comes up, pulls up in a taxi and says, you need to get in a taxi, you need to get in a car, they're after you. We thought that was a bit odd, kind of ignored it. Then Jack kind of put his arm around me, he was like, it's okay, don't worry about them. We kept on walking a little bit further. Then 3 guys kind of approached us, kind of coming around the sides of us. 2 on Jack's side, 1 on my side. And the rest is quite blurry. It's really quite hazy. Obviously I was really quite drunk, and obviously the adrenaline was going. Can't actually remember properly what happened at this point, but the next thing I knew, I was being dragged. I had a guy put his hands around my throat, strangling me, and it's the first time ever that I've actually felt like I could die from this, because I couldn't breathe. And I was playing it really cool, really calm. I hadn't screamed yet or anything like that. And he's like, I was like, oh, where are you taking me, what's happening type thing, so just asking questions, trying to assess the situation, because I obviously thought that I could override 3 men who are actually really quite big, bigger than Jack, bearing in mind he's like a 6'2", whatever guy that plays rugby. And he's like, yeah, taking you, gonna kill you type thing. Like, yeah, gonna rape you. That doesn't matter, you're just coming with me. Like hands around my throat so I couldn't breathe. Dragged me across the other side of the street. That's when I started shouting, screaming for Jack, because I didn't want to be dragged away by myself down some like back alley. I couldn't physically fight, and it's the one time actually before that had happened, I really thought that if a guy started to harass me, I could somehow get away from it, physically bite him, kick him, scream, attract some kind of attention without him taking me away. And from now to this day, I now know when I go out, if a guy approaches me, I know that I have to get out of there or look for some kind of extra help. Whereas if you'd asked me this before that incident, I would have backed myself against that guy. Just ignorance and naivety. And so yeah, and then that happened. And then I don't really know. I remember like my legs being like up in the air. I'm just feeling really exposed in every sense. Someone was still strangling me. There's now like another guy on me. I didn't know what they would do. I didn't know if they would rape me there and then with like Jack there. I still don't know what happened at this point, but Jack somehow got the mic off of me. And then after that, Jack kind of took me, hailed down a random car, which is just as dangerous anyway, shoved us in there, and I was just in floods of tears. Like I hadn't cried, I'd screamed for Jack and screamed help, but I hadn't cried, I'd held my own. And then we just sat outside of the house for hours, me just wailing on him, like not knowing what to do. And this is, I don't know, Jack says because he was obviously in his head, he'd now saved this girl, his adrenaline going, he was still really drunk, tried to get on with me kind of thing, like kissing me and stuff like that. And I just didn't want any of it, like at all. Like the next couple of days, I didn't want to be touched, like even by a guy that I really liked and was really into. One of the first big nights back in my hometown, went out with Livy and Ryan, and then some guy was probably just being flirty, just how most guys are, but now because that had happened I totally freaked out. I had not like a proper panic attack, but kind of like I was crying afterwards, just because I felt really like molested by him. Although like a month before I wouldn't have thought anything of it. Yeah, it's just made me more cautious and more knowledgeable, more aware of the real dangers that persist. I guess it's just also like one of those things. It's like it's never going to happen to me. It's never going to happen to me, and then it's like a near miss. And you're like, shit, it could happen to me.
Okay, now he was close. Tried to domesticate you, but you're an animal. Baby, it's in your nature. Kyle is a complete lad, right? So, he had this girl, right? He had her, right? Like, he was going out with her for a year or two. And, she absolutely loved him. Like, loved him. And he just kept cheating on her. All the time, cheating on her. You know, like every night he'd go out, he'd pull someone. Like, he'd bring someone back. And it would always be in, like, close vicinity to her. Do you know what I mean? Like, she'd always be around. And she'd always, like, nearly catch him. But always give him the benefit of the doubt. You know? She was actually quite stupid. Okay, so this one time, he went to Ibiza for the summer. And he got with loads of girls. And loads of photos went up on Facebook, you know. And this photo went up of him and this one girl. And he got a text from his girlfriend saying, "You're a dick, you're dumped," you know. And And he was just like, shit, you know, shit. And instead of like accepting defeat, he got straight on the phone to his mate, right? And got him to make a fake Facebook account as the girl. Like all the time while he's texting his girlfriend, like, no, that was a year ago, she's just putting the photo up now, she's just putting the photo up now. So anyway, they come back together, him and his girlfriend, they come back together, and he's like, oh, honestly babe, oh look, she's online now. Obviously while the mate's on the other account. And he's like, honestly babe, we'll talk to her now. And she's just like, oh, okay. And he got away with it. And that was that. And I mean, as much as I feel sorry for her, I've got to kind of hand it to him for that. I've got to kind of high-five him for that. Like, fuck me. That is quick thinking, my man. But yeah. No, I mean, I didn't judge him too harshly. No. Like I said, I did feel sorry for her, but, the fact that he's able to cheat on her all the time and get away with it, the fact that he's able to pull off stunts that's ridiculous, it's actually quite merit-worthy. I guess it is partly because of the whole, boy, lads, type thing. Because, he can go back to his mates, go back and laugh about it with them. Well, I guess partly it's because he can, so he does, he gets away with it. He's a really nice guy, because he's a really nice guy, he's really funny, he's really good crack, really enjoyable, he's a really good guy, and so he gets away with it, because instead of being a dickhead, he's a cheeky chappy. If I were a boy, I would turn off my phone, tell everyone it's okay to think that I was sleeping alone.
I don't know. I'd imagine. I don't know what most guys would think about that. I'd be interested. If you find out, please let me know. I'd be interested to know whether guys care more about what guys think they look like or what girls think.
Yeah, no, I think guys judge guys on their kind of machismo, like their kind of manlyhood.
I would have to see what girls think, because what guys think doesn't really faze me. I think with girls it's more of a, what are they going to wear kind of thing.
Guys aren't really bothered about what other guys wear that much. They care more about what girls think about what they're wearing.
Yeah, the whole when you go into a girl's toilet's a really interesting thing actually.
I think guys definitely judge guys on that though, how strong you are, how weak you are, how well you respond to banter, how easy you are to take the piss out of.
Because when you go into a girl's toilet, people aren't just standing doing their business like they are as a boy. I assume. I don't really know. I don't really go into men's toilets that often. There's a lot that happens, when you put your makeup on and you're discussing your day and boys. There's a lot of bitchiness that goes in the toilet.
I think a guy is more like, oh, it's a girl kind of thing.
I think you've got to be good crack, You've got to be good crack to have the piss taken out of you and give it back, But, you can't take too much. That's the thing, because then you become weak, and then you become this little bitch who, A is part of the group, but is kind of like a bottom feeder, or B is someone who, they just laugh at and are actually quite cruel too.
I did definitely have comments from one member after I was just seen talking to this girl. And he said something like, I think he was like, mate, you're not going to go home with her, you can do so much better. And I was just taken aback. I remember thinking that's over the top rude. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he definitely called her ugly. And I was just taken aback. I just thought that was kind of that's not the only reason we should talk to girls or even be in a relationship with girls, I think. I found that offensive. I was offended on her behalf. Like, I didn't tell her, but I was just like, oh my god. Oh shit, yeah. Trollhansa. That's what they said. I think in that sense, like, there's still an inequality amongst the genders, because, well, I'm sure that girls, like, it's okay for a girl to get with an uglier guy, but it's not okay for a guy to get with an uglier girl. And it definitely, to an extent, it objectifies women just for their looks and values them, like, gives them a value based on their aesthetic. Yeah. Well, ashamedly, I think the reaction was trying to keep it under wraps, but that's sort of conforming. Like, then once it was all out in the open, like, you find yourself being slightly embarrassed, but you shouldn't. Like, at the same time, you kind of just think, like, it happened, like, it's not too big of a deal, you know, just because they're laughing, it'll pass. Yeah, but it's not, I wouldn't say that, no, I don't regret the night, but I regret that they reacted to it, and that, like, perhaps in that moment, they made me feel embarrassment, you know? Yeah, but, like, guys will say something fantastical, they'll say something ridiculous, like, over the top. I think someone said something about, so James said that Kev once brought back Gimli, son of Gloin. Like, I don't know what's worse, like, it's stranger's worse. Like, I think guys have no problem being cruder about it. Guys are definitely more public about it. But, you know, like, in a way, when it's so fantastical and so ridiculous, it's kind of meaningless. Yeah, you do become desensitized to it, and you don't really realise what you're saying. But then, well, someone said, like, what if they called your sister that? I think that's kind of when I realised, like, when someone called this girl that, I was just like, oh my god. You realise what you're saying, like, I've been saying things about these people, I've been saying terrible things about these people. Like, calling someone a troll, which is a mythical creature that lives under a bridge. Like, it's funny, but at the same time, you, like, don't really realise what you're saying. Like, it's incredibly rude, incredibly horrific, and like, that's okay to say that.
I think for most girls, you know, in terms of getting into the inner circle, I mean, to use my university lingo, I think there's kind of like a glass ceiling, you know, in terms of rising in the social pecking order. I mean, I don't know if that's just what I've seen.
This is a man's world. This is a man's world. But it don't mean nothing. Nothing without a woman or a girl. I would happily get married early. Just because, like, I've just always wanted to get married, really. I feel like that's going to be my thing. I'm going to be a good wife. And I know it sounds really cocky, but the thing is, I feel like I could be self-sacrificing enough to make a marriage work, if that makes sense.
I'm never going to be sitting at home, housewife type thing. I think Jack wants someone more like that in some senses. He thinks you should have a gendered role in the house. So he's like, it wouldn't work if both people went out and worked. Just physically wouldn't work. Like, someone has to stay at home to maintain all the house care and things like that. But, like, I'm a really bad cook. Like, I just cannot cook to save my life. Jack was like, if, like, looking into the future, you're going to have to be able to cook. My mum wouldn't want me to be with a girl that can't cook. And I was just like, that's just wrong. Like, in my head, I was like, I'm not going to learn to cook. But, like, now because I know that that, like, makes him happy, I make more of an effort. But I am, like, I do sometimes feel like sometimes I don't want to cook out of principle.
I know.
It's hard to explain. Like, generally, I don't think I'm going to be the one earning the highest salary in the family. And so therefore, I think that my provision has to sort of come from my biology. In like, I don't know, in terms of like milk for my baby. But even then, that's only for a limited time period. Unless you're one of those really weird kids who breastfeeds until like 8 years old, which is really, really weird. So yeah, I think beyond that, then the role of mother sort of becomes a nurturing one.
I don't know, it's hard to explain. I think like, I'm a big time romantic, and I think that's more common among girls. And I think with girls, like, sweeping statement, but I think that the majority are. And I think the girl who says, nope, don't want to get married, don't want to have kids, she's more of an anomaly. Whereas it's the other way around with guys.
No, it's hard to explain. It's, yeah, being like a girl in like pregnancies, it's such a drain, especially like in a relationship as well. It's so unfair, but it's natural. Like I have to do all the worrying about the contraception, and it's my fault that if I get pregnant, that'll be my fault, not the guy's fault, because I would have missed the pill or something like that. At the beginning when I wasn't on the pill, like I didn't have to go and get the morning after pill, and like take, like, obviously I didn't care because I don't want a fucking baby, like, fit my day around sorting that out, and the guy just doesn't have to think about that. And that's something that's really defining about like being a girl. Like that's when you realise,
Oh
yeah, I am a girl. I'm the one that has the baby. I'm the one that grows the baby.
I think it's easier for me to comment about the positives and negatives of discrimination with regards to gender for other people than it is for myself.
Yeah, so it's nowhere near guaranteed yet. I mean, I have to do like an application and an interview and stuff, but yeah, ultimately in life I want to become a pastor.
We don't even have to say the word. We won't say the F word.
Feminism? No, not really. I mean, I guess I do when sort of current affairs dictate. Yeah. Then I think about the role of women in society, in secular society. Oh, yeah. So like recently, the Church of England passed a vote that allowed women to become bishops, and then I thought to myself, I was like, wow, how has this only happened up until now? Like, and it really made me think about how disadvantageous it was if you're a woman and you wanted to be a bishop.
But yeah, I get what you mean. You do rarely find a situation where someone says, oh, I'm outraged, they didn't give it to me because I'm a guy. It's much more common to find a situation where you wouldn't be given the job because you're female.
But for me, personally, like, I wouldn't say that I'm forsaken on a daily basis because I'm a woman. Like, in fact, I definitely wouldn't.
I think historically that comes from the fact that for hundreds, if not thousands of years, women have been treated inferiorly to men. It's a fundamentally unacceptable part of our society, and it's pretty disgraceful.
You know, I do read a lot about gender issues, actually. I follow quite a lot of people on Twitter who are pretty staunch feminists.
And because of that, I think women receive more negative discrimination with regards to gender than men do.
Some stuff I'm like, yeah, it really is. And it really makes me sort of hyper-aware of gender discrimination, like the differences that are attached to that, I guess.
I think it's pretty clear-cut that girls are disadvantaged more than boys. I'm not going to be one of those people that stands up and says, oh, but then you might objectify me because I'm a boy. Protector of the protected, voice of the majority. Kind of garbage. So in that sense, I guess...
Well, mostly, it makes me quite sad, I guess, because I don't think that they're actively attempting to, like, release women into positions of authority. It's almost as if there's, like, a block on the empowerment.
I think there are. I mean,
that makes sense.
I think I can name more situations where girls are disadvantaged than boys.
Yeah, but then I would say, like, it's almost like a symptom of unwillingness to, like, look beyond.
But equally as much, some of the situations in which girls are disadvantaged are more serious.
Yeah. And it is that unwillingness to look beyond what you've been taught, which I think is a real detriment to the church actually, because God doesn't discriminate against women. I mean, okay, right, imagine this. So it's the day that God is like giving out his gifts, and there's two queues in front of him, one of men and one of women. Like, I think that he's just as likely to give the gift of teaching, for example, to somebody from the female queue as he is to somebody from the male queue. And then to sort of justify it in any other way would be depicting God as sexist. So yeah, no, it does make me frustrated and like quite angry. But mainly it makes me sad, yeah.
And for example, to turn the tone a little darker, the number of girls that are raped is far higher than the number of boys that are raped. Now, rape is an absolutely horrific crime that should not happen to anyone, but there's a huge dominance of females as the victim.
Well, I wouldn't say that I'm ever going to try and convince everybody that they're wrong and that women should be allowed to lead, almost as if I'm like on a one-woman mission to try and convince everybody that they're wrong. But I think that actions speak louder than words, and if I lead well, then people are going to notice.
So in that sense, they are being mistreated because of their gender?
I think I have. Not because I'm a girl or because I'm not a guy, but just 'cause I'm me. I know, like, I have certain characteristics and, like, have been brought up in a certain sort of way that's given me the emotional intelligence that, yeah, that makes me suitable to be a pastor.
I think that something else I'd like to say with regards to this is something like this is often quite difficult for a man to talk about, because saying what I've said to you here now, I feel like an oppressor by naturally being a man, which is why I think it's quite difficult for men which is why, if you think of the natural F-word argument, a lot of men try to argue against it. Now, I think some men are bigoted fools who think that women are inferior, and that's disgraceful, but I think some men just don't want to admit that their gender, for thousands of years, has been oppressing women. Now, I don't feel like I've oppressed women, but I know full well that men have. And by being a man, I feel almost responsible, which is why I think it's quite difficult for men to admit that women are oppressed.
I hate these blurry lines.
I know you want it.
I know you want it. I know you want it. So a good girl
Must wanna get nasty.
You're far from plastic. Go ahead, get at me.
I like to think I have, not because I'm a guy or because I'm not a guy, because I'm me.
Like my friend Sarah used to get called a dog by the boys, and it's just stuff like that.
To bolster their own egos and gain laughs, but also because they wanted to humiliate me.
It's always been like I'm the vulnerable one.
I feel so girly because I'm not into it in the same way that
There's
they
a huge dominance of females as the victim.
You're gonna go home? You're gonna fuck her right in the pussy?
Mate, when was the last time you got with a girl? Oh wait, never.
Pull in as much as you can, causing a bit of a shit
The
heap.
kind of mammalian mating ritual
Mate, you're not gonna go home with her. You can do so much better.
The fact that he's able to pull off stunts are that ridiculous is actually quite merit-worthy.
are. Mostly makes me quite sad.
Fuck her! I mean, she's a fucking slut!
It's never gonna happen to me, and then it's like a near miss, and you're like, shit.
It's made me feel quite uncomfortable saying that. Now, I haven't ever not given a job to a woman because she's a woman, but nonetheless, I feel bad about that.
I wouldn't say that I'm forsaken because I'm a woman on a daily basis. In fact, I definitely wouldn't.
Initially, I was like, I think it should be changed, and I didn't personally vote just because I didn't actually I didn't agree with it that much. But like, when you think about it, it's not at all because it doesn't limit. Like, calling a girl a senior man doesn't limit. No, it's hard to explain. Do you know what I mean by talking about it being a problem, you create a problem between how being a man and a woman as different things with unequal opportunities and unequal abilities. If you don't bring that problem up, then it should be fine. Like if you don't talk about the difference and recognise the difference, there isn't a difference, if that makes sense. So the more we talk about it, and kind of sometimes doing things like this, the more we research it, the more we put on things about this massive difference, the more difference we create.
Does that make sense?